they're saying that, again, for those who don't know, there are 12 tribes of Israel in the Old Testament, in the Hebrew Bible, in the Torah, to be more specific. And you all argue that each of these ethnic groups or national groups are descendants of those different tribes. So American blacks are the tribe of Judah, which, you know, as an American Negro myself, you know, I'll take it. But then we got the West Indian blacks are from Benjamin, Haitians from Levi, etc., etc. It's always seemed so neat, those lines, and with partly just because of all the mixing that seemed hard for me to believe, but also because of like Dominican, Cuban, Puerto Rican, Haitian. I mean, all that is
close.
Yeah. How did you all determine which lineage was which? And I'll be honest with you, because I don't want, this isn't a gotcha. I have heard arguments that some of the early organizational founders said that they made this up.
Right. So that's a falsehood, that the person that's from the earlier organization is not actually legit. So the first thing, the 12 tribe chart is a marker. So it's not an absolute, meaning like you have people that might look people that might look black, and then you find out that they're Native Indian, but they think that they're black. So it's really just a marker where this is where the dominant people are from each one of these tribes. So a lot of this is history. A lot of this is prophecy in the Bible. Like there's a good book called Lost Tribes in Promised Land, written. This is when a scout by the name of Montesinos. So of course, when the white man was coming over here, he enslaved the Native Indians and black people and stuff like that. And then he started observing the Seminole Indians, Native Indians, the Taino Indians. And so as he's observing them, it's I think it's page 364 in the book Lost Tribes and that book right there. And in that book, the Seminole Indian greets the other Seminole Indian with the Hebrew credo, which is Shema Yasha Allah Yahweh Allah Nawa Yahweh Akkad, which is, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one." And then he says, "I myself am from the tribe of Reuben." So now the Seminole Indian is saying what tribe he's from. And then he says, "My brother Joseph is on an island nearby." Now Joseph represents Ephraim and Manasseh, which would be the Taino Indians, which today would be the Puerto Ricans and the Cubans. Now, also for the record, we're not saying every single Puerto Rican is an Israelite, because you have Spaniard influence. Just like we're not saying every black person is a Judite, because you have white influence, meaning like if your father is white, then you're not. Just like if your father's a Spaniard, although they call themselves Puerto Rican, we wouldn't classify them as an Israelite because they come from a Spaniard background as opposed to a Taino background. That's the whole ethnic part. Same thing with the Levites. So a lot of it is prophecy, historical data. That's how we determine the tribes, so to speak. And also too, because this is the other flack we get, they say, well, we came over here from Africa. What about the people in Africa? This chart is only for the location of North and South America. It's not a chart for Africa. Africa would have a different chart altogether, because North America is not in Africa. So if we was in Africa,
so a Nigerian is one of these tribes. You're just saying we don't know which one.
Right. So like we came from the west coast of Africa. So you can have Israelites that come from Ghana, Israelites from Ashanti, Israelites from like Nigeria that you're saying. So we don't deny that we were over there. But it's so like, just like we wouldn't say, if I said Americans are not black, people will understand that, because we're not we're in the minority, we're not the majority. So when we say Africans are not Israelites, because we're the minority, we're not the majority. The majority of them would be actual Hamites, would be the term that we would use.
Inspired by Ebony Love, who if I remember correctly, based on what she wrote in the comments, I don't know her, said that she was, I think she comes out of the Rabbi Wentworth tradition. She said completely made up fantasy. It is counter to genetic genealogy, records of slavery, cultural anthropology, all things logical and common sense. They made it up. I want to push her question a little bit further, because I don't want it to become a ad hominem kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
What is the evidence of this? Like, where could people? Because typically, you all offer scripture, you offer books. You know, the best thing people can do is offer evidence. What evidence do we have to to sort of substantiate the claims about the tribes.
So I'm actually gonna look up the link that I have. We actually provide a full 12 tribe chart lecture on this subject. I'm gonna see if I can get it for you.
Okay, and feel free to drop it in the chat because my team will look at it. This is class, this is night school, so they will read. They'll do the homework.
No sweat. And so what this does I'm just looking it up. It's on my Cross the Line radio channel. My good fellow captain Tazaryach did a very intrusive. Now it's a long lecture though, just to let you know. So he did a very intrusive breakdown on each tribe. So when he talks about the tribe of Judah, he gives the evidence. When he talks about the tribe of Benjamin, he gives the evidence. So that's where you get more in detail. Like I'm kind of giving like a broad view of it. So I'm just trying to find it. Just give me a second. It might be easy if I just search it on my phone. I'm just going to find it and I'm going to put it in the chat. But that will give more in detail. So when people say like it's impossible to state that, like I said, a lot of people don't know Harriet Tubman knew she was an Israelite. Her whole family, as a matter of fact, Captain Tazaryach that's in our school comes from that tradition. So his line goes back to Harriet Tubman. And so they always knew that they was Israelites when they came over here off the slave ships. So that history has always been known. So it's not like an unknown.
When you say she knows she was one of the 12 tribes, just say a little bit more so people understand what you mean.
She had a Hebrew name. They came out of the Ashanti tribe from west coast of Africa. So out of that Ashanti tribe, they knew that they was Israelites. So when they came over here as slave ships to America, they kept that tradition of knowing that they were Israelites. That's exactly what I'm saying.